What does it take to create a business selling very high-end exclusive products online without any physical retail presence? How do you manage to stand out from all the noise and chaos on social media, let alone establish the level of trust necessary to convince customers who are an ocean away to spend tens of thousands of dollars on something they haven't been able to touch or examine? I'm Jane Singer, and thank you for joining me on A Seat at the Table. This episode is part of our new Launch to Legendary series, where we get to hear from entrepreneurs and innovators who have taken the ordinary and turned it into the extraordinary, who have built their businesses by seeing opportunities in inopportune circumstances, who've defined success in their own terms. Together, we'll be able to learn from their experiences and be inspired by what they've achieved. In today's podcast, I'll be speaking with the incredible Alex Alfieri, founder of Butter Lane, who along with his partner, Monty Cutteridge, has turned the business of selling antique jewelry on its head and built a wildly successful business through their strategic use of social media. This is not just a story about remarkable business success. It's also a story about integrity, unwavering dedication and loyalty, and overcoming seemingly impossible obstacles. Before we get started, if you're looking to develop knitwear collections that will be bestsellers both online and offline, then Spinexpo is the place to go. It's the primary exhibition for yarns and knitwear. The fair offers a carefully curated selection of high-quality yarns and knitwear that's bursting with creativity, not to mention outstanding trend information that cannot be found anywhere else. You can learn more at spinexpo.com. That's www.spinexpo.com. There's also a link in the show notes. And don't forget to check out our Seat at the Table website. You can find all of the previous episodes of A Seat at the Table, the show notes, news about our upcoming masterclass series, and lots of other useful information. You can find it at seat.fm. That's www.seat.fm. FM because it's a podcast. Now let's find out how Alex has built his amazingly successful e-commerce business. Alex, I'm really excited to hear about what you're doing. I think that it's not often that I come across someone who has a business where they're selling English antique jewelry online. That's certainly a little bit different than most of what everyone is doing. What prompted you to start an e-commerce business selling English antique jewelry?
I come from a line of antiques dealers. My dad and his mother were in the trade, and after university I started actually working for my dad. I tried to work for my dad. I don't know if you've ever tried to work with a family member, but
it can be challenging.
In the end, we sat down together. I think we opened a bottle of wine. We decided that our father-son relationship was more important to us than the working relationship. So he taught me a fair whack, and then it was like, here you go, son, time for you to go on your own, like time for you to fly the nest. So I learned everything I know from my dad. That's where everything's come from. I was obviously of the tech generation growing up, so leaning to the internet was just natural to me to use what I knew to sell the products that I had now learnt, which was antique jewellery, luckily. And it's been wildly popular and successful, so it's great. It's a perfect marriage.
So basically, were you taking your father's business, part of it, and then saying, I'll open an online distribution or store for you, or did you completely set up something different?
No, it wasn't like that at all. It was his business still trades, actually. He still runs it. He has actually gone a little bit online, but when it didn't work out with me and him, I set up totally something from scratch.
Oh, okay.
You know, I feel there's sort of quite a lot of stigma, I mean, especially in the UK, that maybe people are handed businesses by the parents. That wasn't the case here. It was really, I was taught by my parents. The business was built from the ground up by me.
Wow, congratulations. That's really quite an achievement.
Yeah, it's great. It's proud. I'm very proud of it, actually. We've had a very bumpy ride throughout since we formed, but it's my pride and joy, really. So it's, you know, it's something that I'm very proud of.
Yeah, it is really an achievement because we hear about so many people who've started online businesses, but there are far more failures than successes. You hear about the successes, you don't hear about the many who have not been able to succeed. And I wanted to ask you, because even when you started your business, which I think was about, 7 years ago, was it?
2013, yeah, 7 years.
Right.
8 years now, probably.
8 years, yeah. So even back then, social media was very crowded, a very noisy forum. Not quite as much so as now, but it was very competitive. So what was the marketing strategy that you used? How did you manage to get Butter Lane to stand out in the market?
Consistency and wicked attention to detail, in my opinion. A real consistency, 365 days a year, following the same formula. Me and Monty now do not take our foots off the pedal. It's day in, day out. It's our lives, the business now.
It's interesting you bring that up because so often, whether it be online or offline, the underlying theme I hear from people who are successful is it's not some burst of genius. It's just having the tenacity to be consistent and stay with it on the good days, on the bad days, on the rainy days, on the sunny days, to be able to have that ability to stay with it.
Not every day we have tens of thousands of dollars of sales. It's not that it doesn't come every day. They do come, but it's not every day. Some days we draw blanks and we have to sit there at night sort of managing the cash flow for the following couple of days or however we run it. And you've got to keep that motivation, not if you're not, what would I say, like scoring a goal every single day, because you don't score a goal every day. It's most days you score a goal, but not every day. And you've got to just, it really is just like head down, knuckle on, keep going. So I call it the beast, like the Butter Lane beast is the thing that we've made. It's like, it's a really hungry monster or a hungry baby. Like it needs so much nurturing and attention and love for it to continue to grow and keep going. And in my case, that is finding the right goods to sell, and that is all the time. I'm constantly on the hunt. There's no days off from that. There's no break. It's your Christmas Day. Maybe we take Christmas Day off, but other than that, there are no days off. Monty has his annual holidays that obviously he's entitled to, but generally I work weekends. Monty works early mornings, I work nights, we both work the days. We've really put the hours in. We have a set formula that works for us. We stick to it.
So often when you hear people pitching courses and so forth about learning how to do e-commerce, they'll promote it as making money while you sleep. And yet when I hear people like yourself who has been successful in e-commerce, it doesn't sound like you can potentially do much sleeping and also be making money.
I do sleep, but I know exactly what you say. We're very disciplined, but we do make money overnight because the time zones we're dealing on.
Right.
Our busiest times are overnight, really, but often we wake up and there's a bunch of sales that have come in from the time when we went to bed and woken up, which is a great feeling.
Yeah, of course. But in order to get those sales, you've had to put in a tremendous amount of work consistently during the day. And like you said...
Of course, yeah, it doesn't happen So here's an example for you. Occasionally, if I take a holiday or sometimes if I go abroad, for a vacation would be the right word to use, I feel like the business is receptive of me not being there. So when me and Monty are both in the office and we're firing on all cylinders, bang, 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 everything's getting done, it's reflected in the figures.
Oh, I think that's interesting. So basically, you have to be on top of it all the time, because when you take your foot off the pedal a little bit, the machine starts to slow down.
Totally. That's exactly what I was trying to say. You said it much more eloquently than I did, but yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I don't want this machine to slow down. I love it the way it is, 1,000,000 miles an hour. One of my biggest attributes is being as responsive as I am. So if someone messages us on Instagram asking for extra pictures of a piece or wants to know a little bit about the history of a piece, it'll often be me that picks that up, and I'll take the time to personally answer those and chat to the customers and try and get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point because oftentimes, right, when you're buying something in a store, you do have that personal attention. More so if it's a store where the owner of the store is actually on site. But even in a store where you're dealing with a sales assistant, you have that rapport. Whereas online, oftentimes, you're down to photos and a description. So it's interesting that you're adding that personalization.
Yeah, it was that was one of the key strategy moves of over the last sort of like 5 years when we really started getting going. And it was right. We need to put a face to the brand, and then I don't know if you were aware, but we had our own podcast, which was pretty popular last year. We're recording the second season at the moment, but the idea behind the podcast, as you'll understand, was to essentially put a bit of personality behind the brand, because people are shopping online, all they're seeing is a computer screen and a beautiful picture of a piece of jewellery, but I needed people to see the face behind the brand.
Right.
Like you say, as if it was a shop and the shop owner's there and he can come out and go, good afternoon, how are you, how can I help? And you can't do that because of the nature of the way we trade. So we have to try and think of the best ways to do that. One thing that we've recently added to the website was like a live chat. These sometimes appear like bots on certain websites. Like, hi, how may I help you? But actually, if a customer engages on one of those chats, then that comes through to either mine or Monty's mobile phone.
Oh, okay.
And then they're actually speaking to us. So just another little personal touch that we added.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting how you've managed to transcend that barrier of being online, but yet also bringing in personalization. You had mentioned earlier that one of the things that you got right was attention to detail. What are some of the details that you give a lot of attention to?
We're so particular about photography and descriptions and making sure that everything that we're offering is exactly, nothing is missed. You know, it is essentially, I want to give people the experience if they've got something in the hand and they're actually looking at it through words, through photographs.
That's not easy to do because when you know a piece very well, it's hard to think of how someone who's never sat there and saw it before, how to explain it to them. That's
where Monty comes in. Monty's the genius behind that. He dedicates a lot of time to those descriptions and he obviously does all the photography, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the best out there. We do have competitors, but I feel that Monty's photography is the best. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased.
But even so, you mean you're still having to compete, so if it wasn't at a certain level, you would feel it in terms of your sales.
No.
About how many pieces do you keep in inventory at any one time?
I try and keep it around 300 pieces on the website, which have been processed, put on social media and put out to the world essentially, and then we have like another 100 or so that are tucked away.
Right.
Sort of thing that are there for sort of specific inquiries or for the future. There's that we have to do a lot of planning for future stock because of certain situations that go on in mostly in my life.
So staying with the theme of creating this a closeness with your customer, because you are selling something that's very high end, and if you don't have a shop anywhere, they're really relying on buying something that's very expensive online. So how do you establish a level of trust with customers so that somebody who has seen what you have online thinks it's beautiful and now has to say, I hope when I receive it that it's what was advertised?
The personalisation, I feel, totally adds this, sort of knocks down that barrier of potential. They know that they're speaking to a real person and hopefully they can see that I'm a genuine person behind the business. So personalisation, speaking to me, another photograph, things we've just spoken about, photographs, descriptions being on point. People can see we're clearly trusted because of the quite colossal following that we have on social media. There's specific things, for instance, like return policies, and we often allow people to do like a try. So essentially, if someone wants to buy an engagement ring, they would go into the store and have a look, put it on their own hand, put it on their mum's or their sister's hand, and get a feel for it.
Right.
But obviously, being, we're in Manchester, the majority of our customers are on the east coast of America.
Oh.
We have had people fly over before, but we wouldn't ask that, and we don't expect that. So sometimes, if someone paid a smallish deposit, we would actually ship a piece, which does result in some sort of, providing that we've had some sort of rapport with this person and there's a level of trust, we'd ship the item to them. We work with a lot of people in New York. If they didn't like it, they could return it to a store in New York, which would then make its way back to us.
Oh, interesting. So basically,
just like a little thing that we offer that we think just shows that we're genuine and credible.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting that you've set up those collaborations with physical stores in different places.
So that was a problem that at the time, we kept hitting people, I really want to buy this, and we understand, it's $10,000 over the internet, over something that you've not seen. Like, it's a big ask.
Yeah, for sure.
And I understand that. And so we were like, what can we do? So then all of a sudden we were like, we know all these people over there, so let's use them. So it started off with the girls in the Erica Wiener's shops, and they've actually closed now because they've gone purely online, but they did have like retail shops in Manhattan and Nolita. So we used to ship it to their shop, and then the customer could go in and they would handle the sale for us. Now, since they've closed, we just do it a bit differently, a bit more private with private dealers that we know over there.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. So, that's a very creative solution to that, because you're right. They're asking somebody to pay a tremendous amount of money for something that they've not seen in person. It is a leap of faith.
It is a leap of faith, and ultimately, I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable with. If people will know once they've shopped with us most of our customers are repeats, so it is often people that have come back to us month in, month out. People will know that we're genuine, we're good, we offer a good product at a good price, and we also offer a good service in terms of shipping, presentation.
Yeah, I think that, like with an offline store as well, really, it all comes down to reputation, doesn't it?
Yeah, reputation's huge in this business.
Through everything that you've achieved in 7 years, which I know seems probably like forever when you're the one building the business, but in the actual scheme of things is not terribly long. What would you say are the biggest challenge or the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in running Butter Lane?
The first one being cash flow management. So that 5 years ago, when we really started getting some momentum, cash flow management in those early days, because I'm not an accountant, Monty's certainly not an accountant. We were all we knew that we had to keep spending every single penny that was coming in to replenish the goods because they were selling so fast. Cash flow is a common problem of any sort of new business, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
So it's that was the first thing that when I really thought, wow, what do we do here? How do we manage this situation? It was like a new skill. So we had to design forecasts which informed me how much I had to spend over the month to make sure there was everything could sleekly tick over,
right?
Essentially. And then obviously, then another huge obstacle that we overcame was, I think you're familiar with the whole story around my health, which happened a couple of years ago now.
What happened?
I still am. I'm currently waiting for a heart transplant.
Oh.
And I was urgently waiting, which means a couple of years ago, I was in the hospital waiting. And unfortunately, no donors came up as a solution. I have a mechanical heart installed, which was to get me until I've had a heart transplant. During the operation, I had a stroke, which was just a freak accident that can happen whilst you're under anaesthetic. I was out the game with Monty, unaware of, obviously my family told him what had happened, but we had never planned for that eventuality. So Monty had to really step up, and before that, he didn't really have any experience in my role. So he had to run the business for like 3 months whilst he was managing with the very, very bleak reality that is business partner boss was like gravely ill. Also, he had to keep the business going because he knew that when I came round, if the only thing I was going to have was the business.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a huge obstacle for Monty especially, but also for just getting back from that and getting back on my feet and being like, I had to learn how to walk and talk and do everything.
Wow.
You know,
What a journey.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was. I mean, thankfully now I'm like 95% of the way there. Still a little bit more to do, but yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a wild ride, the Butter Lane roller coaster.
Yeah, certainly that is something that no business would have planned for. To be able to overcome that both personally and in the business is unbelievable.
Exactly. Well, now, Jane, I mentioned earlier when you asked me about the stock in inventory. So we keep a reserve stock, which is specifically for a situation that if whilst I wait for a heart transplant, my phone could ring now. That phone call could, it wasn't because I checked if it was the hospital, but it could. So there's measures in place that if that phone call comes, because Monty doesn't do the buying, I do the buying. So there's stock there to keep us ticking over for a month or two. That means the business will run smoothly should I be out of action for a while. Which is something that with 30-year-olds, like it's something that no 30-year-olds think they're going to have to plan.
For sure. Frankly speaking, even older people don't think about those things. You never think of it that way.
Of course, no. It's just an unfortunate thing that's happened. It's not holding us back in any way. It's just a bit of a rubbish situation, but it is what it is. That's the saying we say.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that I applaud your attitude for being able to not let that stand in your way, to say, this is something that I need to work around and I need to plan for, but it's not going to keep me down.
No, because I feel back to 100% from a cardiac point of view.
Right.
So there's no heart failure anymore. Everything works fine. I look fine. My energy levels are fine. I'm not asleep all the time like I used to be. So I have nothing to hold me back anymore, apart from the stroke and a bit of like muscle damage. But other than that, me and Monty closer together, and it's meant that he learned my role very quickly, which was probably the best way for him to learn it, was to be thrown in the deep end.
Right. Yeah, sometimes that's the way. It's initiation by fire, and when you're confronted with a situation like that, you have to level up.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's good that he was able to do that. I really respect him for being able to step in and take the reins.
He's amazing. Yeah, of course. Like, you know, he knows how grateful I am for it. It's incredible what he did and how much he did with no knowledge. It's totally amazing. Like, I'll be forever grateful for Monty. He is my right hand man, and he's so key to what we have here.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly you've built an impressive business. You've made so many strategic moves that so many other people might not have either thought to do or might not have had the determination to do as consistently as you have. So to be able to keep that running through good times and bad, it's so critical.
Yeah, of course. I mean, me and Monty often say, if that didn't kill us, if we can get through something like that, there's a quiet day doesn't faze us in any way. We're just, it's been quiet today, or a quiet week, or a quiet month. We just think, well, it comes back. It always comes right again. So
yeah,
I think when we've, like, as a team, when we've been through something as catastrophic as that there's little that can wobble you. We're really tight. That is only shows in the quality of the work that's produced.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes things like that do make you stronger.
Yeah, of course.
So what's next for Butter Lane? Do you have plans to expand in any way, or do you feel that what you're doing is good and just a matter of smoothing out any rough edges?
That's exactly it. It's just refining what we've already got here. We have numerical targets of growth that we want to show on an annual basis, when we have to sit down with the accountants and the finance team and make sure that the things are going in the right direction. So between us, we have financial goals. So I feel that by just focusing on what we're good at, I don't want to spread myself too thinly and start saying, we're going to start trying to sell more modern jewellery or something like that. It's not what I'm someone that's definitely going to play to my strengths, and that is buying and selling antique jewellery. So I'm just going to stick at that and get better and just keep producing the content, keep coming up with the fresh ideas, like the podcast, like the personal branding route, which has been going on over the past 12 months. Yeah, just smooth out the rough edges, really, is hopefully the plan.
I think that's why oftentimes of course it's good to be ambitious, but so often you see people leverage success to grow and grow to the point where they hit failure. It's almost as if they can't stop moving forward until they hit failure.
I understand what you're saying. We don't need to. We're good at what we do and we love what we do. So why would we want to start looking at just something else to increase that revenue by another few percent? Or it's so big the way it is already that I don't feel that we need to add anything. It's just really refine the back office side of things. The buying, the customer experience, the logistics of the business, just get better, and then eventually we will be the best.
That's really, to me, an optimal goal to have, is to say we don't aim to be the biggest, but we aim to be the best at what we do.
Of course, yeah, of course. That's exactly how I feel. We have goals like, we want to get 1 million followers on Instagram, or a bit even bigger than that. We have huge visions. But let's just get and offer the best quality thing for the customer experience and build that up from that side.
Increasingly, the businesses that succeed are the ones who are looking at that direction. Is really the customer nowadays wants that quality, wants that personalization. So to be able to deliver on that really pushes you out in the market.
Totally. And I don't know if you've heard this. We have a saying in the UK, to be like a busy fool.
Yes, which I find myself also doing many times.
that is so like central for me and Monty, like to not be like that. We say like let's just keep not being a busy fool. Let's not be a busy fool. It's something that we're always conscious of, to not just be running around like idiots, where we could just be improving the service.
Yeah.
Which speaks volumes other than adding like more lines. There is jewellery out there. There's more jewellery I could buy. So, for instance, we only put up online, say, 3 items per day, and we could be putting up 10 items a day or 20 in terms of the amount that we see and buy. But it's just that would be being a busy fool, in my opinion.
Right.
Let's just get the 3 items that we put per day the best and offer with the best pictures, the best descriptions. Yeah, that's something that we focus on going.
It is easy to be able to think that more is more, right? If I do 3 and it succeeds, what if I did 4? If my competitor is doing 4, maybe I should do 5 or 6 or 7, and before you know it, you're a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah, and we don't want to be like boring in front of the customer or annoying. Let's have 3 really, really significant posts that are really popular and hopefully all sell every day.
It's been so interesting to learn about what you're doing. It's something that we don't see too much of, which is people who are selling a high-end product like this online. So to be able to understand what you've done and to hear your whole journey has really been interesting.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is the first time I've been a guest on a podcast, so thank you very much.
I'm very happy to have you on the show, and I hope it's been a good first experience.
Yeah, it's been great. You've got easy on me, haven't you?
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode of A Seat at the Table, join me each week when I sit down with leading executives, entrepreneurs, educators, and authors who share their insights, experiences, and future vision for business. And make sure to visit Spinexpo. From trend information to technical innovation, Spinexpo is the primary exhibition for yarns and knitwear. The fair provides well-edited forums featuring high-quality products that are bursting with creativity. To learn more, go to spinexpo.com. That's www.spinexpo.com. You can also find a link in the show notes for this episode. Before you go, if you're looking for a concise view of key shifts, opportunities, and risks in global sourcing, then check out the current situation in sourcing. You'll find a link in the show notes. And don't forget to check out our podcast website, where you can find all of the previous episodes of the Seat at the Table podcast, the show notes, news about our upcoming masterclass series, plus lots of other useful information. You can find it at seat.fm. That's www.seat.fm. FM because it's a podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Jane Singer, and I'll see you in the next podcast episode.